Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the filmmakers behind this Oscar-winning film, Chris Tashima, Susan Fukuda, Diane Jojer, and Mr. Mark Hanchek Choi. Hi everybody, how are you guys doing today? Beautiful film, beautiful film. Oscar-winning film, huh, Chris?
How about that?
So one thing that we have to talk about that we didn't get to mention earlier, there's a special appearance in this film. Who knew about Sugihara before you guys came in today? All right, so not everybody. So there's a special mention, a special appearance that we have in the film.
Yeah, when we decided to make this film, Tom Donaldson, who directed the play, who I knew as a producer and tech director at East West Players, made it his mission to find a Sugihara survivor. And he found one. Her name was Hani Vogelveit, and she lived in Huntington Beach. And she, at the time, was, I believe, 70 years old, and received a visa when she was 17 years old. She stood in line, she got a visa for her whole family, and she lived in Huntington Beach, and she opened up her house and all her memories and her memoirs, everything she had, photographs, to us to help us in research. And she ended up being in the film, which was not my idea. I can't claim that was my great idea, but she was in the montage of people saying yes. There's an older couple. She's on the left, and she's the one who whispers in the gentleman's ear, "Say yes," which was totally improv. So we kept that take. And she became a very close friend of production. Followed us around, went to many of our screenings, but just the day that she showed up to be on set was incredible, and to have somebody in the flesh who's proof of Sugihara's amazing efforts. I mean, Diana, maybe you can talk a little bit about her, because I know it probably meant a lot to you to meet her as well.
Yeah, I think that it's so stirring when you meet people who have, suffered so much, is the resilience and the generosity. And she just really was such an embodiment of that. She was so much fun. And she really did. I mean, she had us to her house. And, she's just a character. Just an absolute character.
And that's so beautiful. I was just telling them also that despite the darkness of everything that's happened, the film is a constant reminder, and that's why it resonates to this day, because it shows us that there are still truly good people in this world, and that's why it's so amazing. And what was it you guys so important to be a part and to make this for all of you? And we can start with Chris and then go down.
Yeah, first learning about Sugihara and what he did, and trying to grasp what must have been like. Growing up as a Japanese American, the images that I saw in films and on television, especially around World War II, were pretty much as the enemy. And here was a Japanese man who was one of the good guys, and an amazingly good guy. So it meant so much for me, first to be in the play, which is where this all began. It was just a one-act play in a black box theater in North Hollywood for about 4 weeks. The play script was 13 pages long, and just to do that was really a treat as an actor and as a Japanese American. But then this idea of making it into a film and being able to share it to so many more people, I think a lot of it had to do with what that ability meant, that I would be able to show this film and to share this film over and over, and for many more years than you could do a play.
How about you, Susan?
You know, I think just, first of all, learning about his story and what Chris just mentioned on TV movies, it was always the Japanese are bad, and you know, and just to see that this is all about a person who really, it was about heart. It was about, you know, he went against what he was supposed to do, and he knew that he was going to get punished for it, him and his family, but he had to do what he had to do, and that was amazing. And even like now, thinking back, you know, when you think, hey, you've seen this movie again after so long, and just everything that happens in the news and everything that's going on in the world, just the humanity, the idea of humanity, and what he did and what he sacrificed, I think means, you know, when I think more about it, it just means a lot.
And even as filmmakers, in 1997, so much has changed to 2023. How did it feel to be an Asian American filmmaker making this at a time where we're barely stories that were being told?
Yeah, you know, it was quite a different time back then, and the opportunities for actors were very, very limited. But I think the positive side of that is that it was a smaller community. It was very tight knit, and I knew most of the actors that would get the roles, or that I would be up against auditioning, or you know, that I did plays with, East West players. Where everybody knew each other, and that really helped me, I think, in terms of making the film, because there were many actors that served on crew positions in our film. So, and there were people that I met at East West Players. It's hard to think back then as to what it meant. I mean, I knew, you know, that was a big factor in my being able to play a hero on screen was never going to just come my way. I couldn't expect it, so that was another sort of motivation for me. Just being able to have the opportunity to play him on screen, even if it was in a short, was meant a lot to me.
Diana, you mentioned that it meant a lot to you as a film to see this story come to pass. How does it feel now, having all this time passed since when you guys filmed it?
It kind of feels emotional, actually. It's a hard time we're living in, and I have so much respect for Chris, and it was such a tight-knit group. I mean, Jude's here, Maria was here. Everybody who showed up just showed up. I don't know why. Nobody thought there's going to be a reward in this. We just did it. There was something kind of bigger. And I think the selflessness and the danger of being selfless and taking a risk to actually live by your moral compass, I think it really inspired all of us that were involved. I mean, I'm very stirred seeing all the faces who came. There wasn't an opportunity at the time. Nobody knew there was going to be an Oscar. Nobody knew where this would go. But it just felt, I think this story lifted us. And it's true. You know, it's very different now, 25 years later, on the television and in movies. But, you know, people with different faces just weren't on there. And it was it took a lot of drive and ambition. And you were saying in the last panel, you don't know if you would do it now because there was a youthfulness. I don't know how you got it done. It was bizarre how things happened. The producer was through a second cousin of mine who's in Abbas, 5 hours north of San Francisco in Humboldt County. Like, how did that happen? Susan comes, she does all the graphics. I mean, it was just this kind of unfolding. So, I guess when you go with your heart, I mean, it sounds so cliche, and maybe when you just do things purely, and maybe that's why I feel so stirred, because it just resonates in that way.
Thank you, Diana. How about you, Mark? I know Mark's a good friend, guys. He's also an executive here at Asian World Film Festival, and he won't stop talking about it. That's how much he loves this film. How did it resonate for you to this
Well,
day?
before I start talking about it, I'm kind of more curious what's in that bag.
All right.
Is that your lunch? Or it's a bag of-
He has its own thermos.
Guys, Mark Choi is the sound design. Oh, what is this?
No way!
Ladies and gentlemen, your Oscar Award,
So-
Academy Awards here.
What I like to do is pass this to the audience, so everyone gets a chance to hold it. So let me start here.
I just got confirmed
And
by
just-
our executive director George. He said that this is the first Oscar-made appearance in the Asian World Film Festival in 9 years. So this is like super duper.
I'm manifesting,
honor.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Maybe don't pass it.
the film was not made
Careful, it's very
by
heavy.
me. It was made by a whole community, several communities. And so I don't feel like I'm the only one that won, run this statuette. It really meant a lot to so many people just to be involved. When we shot the film during production, nobody got paid. We were upfront with anyone just asking for volunteer time. That didn't stop anyone from coming on board, from all of our PAs to someone like Hiro Narita, who was an A-list cinematographer at the time. So I owe it to so many people that the film was made. By the way, I want to say Jude Prest, sitting over here, was one of our volunteers during the montages. He said yes to so many people. So I want to thank him for coming out.
Well, and I think that I'm the only one that paid on this because I was working at the
What,
post
you got
office.
paid? What?
You didn't pay me. You paid the post office, and post office paid me when I was working there.
The sound guys always get paid.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually,
Why?
so Yuta Mayan, who was our sound mixer during production, said he needed to get paid. So what we ended up doing was we rented his equipment. So he kind of got a check, but he volunteered, and I gotta say he was so good. I was so grateful for the work he did. We didn't have to do any looping,
Correct.
so I'm really proud of that aspect.
And then to rain a little bit on this parade, during production, there was so much squeaking of the hardwood floors that I removed every single one of them at like 4 a.m, so that you guys will not be bothered by that when you're listening to it. So,
Sorry about that.
no, not at all.
But that just shows you how many people really wanted to be a part of this. Like you saw that credit reel. That's a long credit reel. That's how powerful this story it is that you guys were telling. When did you guys have an inkling that like, oh, maybe we might win an Oscar? Did that even ever occur to you at all?
No.
During nomination?
Not even, yeah.
Okay, so I knew as soon as the idea to make this play into a film that we would win an Oscar. Now wait a minute, that was my own gut feeling. That was really what motivated me in a lot of ways because of it was a really powerful and important story. We had an amazing ensemble. It was a wonderful script. If I could just transition from it being 4 people on stage talking in a room to feeling like a movie, and brought people on board at every stage that could do that for me, that we had a shot. Now, looking back, I realized I was very naive and very lucky because it's an incredibly competitive category, and pretty much every year that I guess who's going to win, I'm wrong. So I of course I didn't tell anybody this at the time, but that really was in the back of my mind from the get-go, and I really aimed everything at that became sort of my standard. And it had to feel like a movie. It had to play in the Academy's 1,100-seat theater, so the sound had to be very rich, from the score to the effects and everything. And Hiro Narita, who shot the film, was the first, I think, most important person to help me make that transition. And I gotta give a shout out to him. He really came on board and made this movie and did it in an incredibly gracious way. And he was a really great guy and modest guy. And I can't thank him enough for shooting my film.
All right, take us back to Academy Awards 1997. When you found out that you guys won an Oscar, take us back to that feeling. What was in your head and your heart when you heard that?
Well, actually, I would go back to when we were nominated, because that's the point at which you have no idea what your competition is. If you have a shot, the Academy just announces the 5. Now they have a whole short list, and they have this whole process, and it's publicized. Back then, it was like the 5 nominees are announced on 5 a.m. At a press conference. And so I went down to the Academy to try to get into that press conference, and of course I couldn't get in. But as soon as the major categories are announced, which is done on live television, they open it up, and there's agents and publicists running around all over the place going crazy. And so this is 1997 and early 1998, and so I didn't have a computer, but there were computer terminals in the lobby at the Academy. So I went straight to there, looked at the list, and that's where I found out, we were on the list of nominees. And so I went outside, used a payphone to call my mom and to call Chris Donahue. So that was it. From then it was just this amazing ride. And so sort of having this, I felt very good about our odds, because I went to see the other 4 nominees and felt like we just really stood out in many ways, and I thought we had a really good shot. So when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck called out our names, it was very much, I wasn't surprised. It was really, just feeling, that we did good. But I don't want to pretend like that I'm not appreciative of it, because we were extremely lucky. We were really lucky that so many things came our way and that the voters, responded to it. So I don't take it lightly at all.
It's probably indescribable. That's why you're like lost in words of like how that felt. That's feel that in you even now, all these years.
Yeah,
that your name got called.
Well, the main thing is I don't want to trip on my way onto stage, and I want to get out what I want to say before they cut us off or the orchestra starts playing. And from the get-go, they keep telling all the nominees, 30 seconds, you have only 30 seconds. So, I was very aware of that. They're a little bit more relaxed now. In fact, now it's 45 seconds. But
what was the quote, though? The LA Times quoted you. What did you say?
I said, I hope we can begin to embrace every race. Diversity is the ingenue, and she's ready for the close-up.
Woo!
That was it.
Damn.
And, you could say that today, and it'd still be
Yeah.
just as meaningful.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Susan? You're an award-winning creative director. You did Super Bowl, things like that as well. I mean, this entire panel is stacked. Can you put into words on how you felt?
Okay, so I have to say, I still remember the moment, because I didn't know kind of what was going on in Chris's head, but when we got the phone call at 5 in the morning or whatever time that was, and you said that it was nominated for an Academy Award, I still remember that. That was like so amazing.
Yeah.
What went through your head?
And that was just to be nominated. I didn't even think, I'd see anything else, but just that, I still remember the phone call. It was one of the best early morning phone calls. It's really exciting.
All right, Diana, from college in Ithaca to London and all these acting, things that you've done, like how did that feel for you?
It just felt surreal, I think. Like, what? But I do remember coming home after, we're all dressed up, these hours to get ready, all this stuff. It borrowed everything, and then I came back. I was living in a barrio at the time, and we get out of the limo, and here come the roosters, and it's just like my little house in the back of my Paula Sismar, who was a playwright teacher, and East West player. She's up. It was just so, there's like these different lives we have all in one day. It was kind of like that, and it was just kind of thrilling, You just don't, sometimes you're like, I live in Hollywood, you have those moments, and that was, and grateful that it's recognized. I think I'm kind of amazed how good it is. Honestly, and the whole time I was like, my God, the sound, and the music, I'm leaning into Susan, the sound, and the music. So, yeah, I feel really proud.
I think it was really nice to see it after 25 years. And it just makes you, and everyone's lives have changed. There's been so much that's gone on.
Yeah.
And to see it again, we saw it a lot, right? It wasn't just up with the Academy Award. It won a lot of awards. It was in a lot of film festivals. It did really well on the circuit. And we were watching it and seeing it, and it was great. It was great. And then I hadn't seen it in a really long time. And so it was really nice to see it in a theater with the great sound and the look of it. And it does make me feel really proud. And it's held up so well.
Yeah.
And you guys haven't seen each other in a while either today. It's like a
It's the only time
reunion.
we see each other.
How about you, Mark?
Well, I really didn't know that this should have won, so it wasn't a surprise because of the subject matter and because I saw the final version and also the screening during the cast and crew that, because it was made adequately enough that it's not like clunky or amateurish and it's not stylized, but it didn't matter because of the story was so powerful. That background, the foundation, and I knew that everything else, the acting was convincing and everything. So, and I said, unless there's some other like incredible story of the survivors and whatnot, it would win. And I really was not was expecting that. And I was in France at that time. I couldn't see it live. I couldn't see it with the sound post-production house when they have a party. And I was there with my wife and newborn, 6 months. We were on our second honeymoon, and everyone was sleeping. I was watching like 2, 3 in the morning. I forget what time. And as soon as Matt Damon and they said that, I go, wow! And I can't wait to go back and see how everybody's reacting. So it was incredible. And it feels now, oh my gosh, it really did win. Well, it hits me more now than it was back then. It seemed like.
Yeah.
It's still relevant to this day. That's what's so incredible about it. All right, guys, we wanna open up questions to our audiences and let us know how you feel about that Oscar in your hands. Do you guys have any questions for our incredible team up here? And while you think about it, Chris, you won the Oscar. And then you did Day of Independence, which then got nominated for an Emmy, and then you just had this, even this year, you had this big film at Japanese Film Festival. You've done so much in your life, acting, directing. Did you start producing with this film, or were you already producing and directing?
Oh, I was making films since I was a teenager. I made Super 8 movies. They were really bad, but I was in films. So, and I went to college to study filmmaking, and I actually had no interest in acting up until my mid-20s, way after college. So it was what I wanted to do, initially. It just I didn't have the story that this film, brought me this opportunity to make this kind of a movie, and it was bringing all these amazing people on board. And I gotta say, one thing about watching this in this quality setting is I really appreciate the costumes. The costume design.
Oh my God.
And I mean, you see the getup that she's wearing to get on the train.
Yeah,
at the
you're
end.
so gorgeous.
It's amazing.
Do the tear. How did she do the tear?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening. I was looking this way.
You got amazing sweat. She's got the tear. You gonna tell them how you did it?
But they're just, everyone came in and contributed in, brought their A game, and production design, costume design, sound, music, cinematography. I mean, you need all of these people to make it a professional film. And I just sat back and said, cut,
No, you didn't.
and everyone else did everything else.
Does anyone have any questions? If not, I have another.
I just want to
question.
make an observation. It's an extraordinary story, of course, and timeless. And the way everyone came together from story design to production to acting, brilliant. You deserve the Oscar again.
Thank you.
This screening in this room marks your own history as well, because this is one of the first ever digital flat screens in the world.
Oh, wow.
So you are watching this in an unbelievable technology.
Oh, wow.
And it shows you the quality of your production and your sound
Mm-hmm.
as,
It held up.
yeah, I mean, this is,
Yes, this is an 8K screen, and
Yes.
the blacks are totally black. I was really looking forward to.
and it's
this
one of the first in
presentation.
the world.
Wow.
And the only other better one is the $2 billion version in the Sphere in Vegas.
Oh,
So I mean, that's how,
wow.
to our compliments to the team here and George for this exhibition, because it just was so crisp.
Huh.
I mean, it's as if you made it for those generations to come.
Thanks, Robert.
Wow.
And
That's
as Robert was saying, guys, there's no projector. This is straight to the screen.
Oh.
So this is something very new. Thank you for bringing that up, Robert. And the first thing I thought of was like, oh my God, it looks so good in this medium. Since 1997, right? That's incredible.
Really is.
Incredible.
Can I just say, I was just thrilled to be a tiny little blip in it, and seeing it now, 25 years later, I have a VHS at home. How moved I am by the performances, Diana, Chris, everybody just so amazing. Yeah, I can remember being on set and just, it felt so much bigger than, whatever was going on behind the scenes. It just felt big. But the performances are just beautiful, and I'm thrilled to be just a tiny blip in it.
You played one of
Thank
the,
you.
I'm in the montage.
yes, you were the gentleman there that was waiting in line to
The
get
big
that.
round glasses.
Jim.
I have a quick. Myself is an actor too, and this is my second time to hold your statue. And right after the Academy Award you won, and we had a screening in Culver City, and Asian people gathered together, and you gave us a chance to hold this, Academy statue. So, and at the time before this short film comes, as an actor, I auditioned the feature film for this Sugihara's film, and they were going to do that, and I was lucky to see the producer in Beverly Hills in Poolside, and so I expected to be in the feature film, and then it disappeared. And then a little while passed, and then this short film came up and won Academy, and now everybody knows about Sugihara, and we are so thrilled, and we are very happy, and I appreciate maybe this short film could be much better than the feature film which didn't exist. So, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcia. Thank you so much for doing this today. It's been incredible and touched my heart. I was wondering what advice you all may have for upcoming Asian American actors filmmakers and, you know, people in the industry in general. In some ways, the industry is so similar and yet so different right now. So I'd love to hear any advice you may have.
You know, I always tell people to make your work as personal as possible. Really, don't be afraid to examine yourself and what the story means to you, or what you are bringing with that story. Those are the things that make your project original, and originality is really what sells. What makes a project stand out. So, and this is in terms of, writing and directing, and even in performances. But something very simple in terms of making a short film is to give your film an ending. So many short films that I see just sort of end. And I think people feel like, well, it's just a short film, and I want the audience to decide, or, no, you're telling a story. The story needs to have an end, otherwise why are you telling your story? And I say that because I judge the live action short films every year at the Academy. I judge student awards at the Directors Guild. I look at many shorts, and your short is almost never seen alone. It's always seen with a group, whether it's a festival screening where it's screened with a group of shorts. When people are judging your film to screen it, they're looking at tons of short films. So make your film stand out. And just having a good ending to your story will make your film stand out, because there's so many great beginnings and premises and interesting characters and conflicts, and then the filmmaker gets lazy and it just sort of ends, and I can't stand it. The other thing is to get a tripod, because I'm done with handheld camera work.
Lee, Susan, do you have any message for future filmmakers?
I want to be perfectly honest. I'm not really a filmmaker. I just got really lucky, and I just kept showing up. But I'm just going to say, just from observation, I really think the industry is changing. Between actors, before it seemed like there were only the same actors in everything, which is great for them. But there's so many more actors coming in, younger actors with a lot of diversity. And I think things are opening up, and people have different stories that they're telling. So hopefully that will continue. And so this is just me from an observation. And and also I haven't been acting, but when I would get the same role over and over. This was a great one. I was always a reporter, number 1, number 2, or nurse, doctor. Who else? There were very specific people, or I would be the owner of a liquor store that would have to have an accent and tell everybody to get out. So, I feel like there weren't that many roles. I hopefully that there are better roles now and better opportunities.
Awesome, thank you guys. Please give a big round of applause to Chris, Susan, Diana, and Mark. Thank you.
We have one request. The guy who helped make this all happen, Tom, can we just get a picture with you and the Oscar and the whole
we
group?
got a movie starting
All
at
right.
3:30 right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's 3:30.
The Oscar.
You want me to take a picture
Yes.
with the Oscar?
No, yeah, please. Gentlemen.
I didn't.
There we go. The two of you. Thank you.
And please bring a drink and something with you, and then it's very easier for us to prepare for the next show.
Please, yes.
Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you guys. And also it's kind of raining, so that the ground is slippery, so please be careful when you go out. And still we have a film showing, if you have a chance, please come back, and then when the film is still we are going on the beautiful, nice Asian film. Please come back, and again, thank you for coming today. Thank you.
それさ、帰国子女あるあるでもああ、そうこの間も帰りの音楽終わったらおー、メイン
ご家族の
아,元気ですよ。
Check.
Oh,
Thank you so much for making this possible. And nice seeing you.
glad that we bumped into each other.
You met Oliver? He's a great manager.
I want. So, you know, please,
What do you want to do?
go away, right? I'll go away, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
I don't know why I thought that the next movie was at 4. I'm so stupid.
No, 3:30.
I know, I didn't know. Sorry. I don't know why.